This year, two conservatories in Boston are celebrating their 150th anniversaries. To mark the occasion, the Boston Conservatory, now part of the Berklee College of Music, plans a number of events to talk about the celebration. The national impact and local connections is the outgoing president of the conservatory, Richard Ortner. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Chris. I'm delighted to be here.
First of all, I want to start with what the current story here before we go back, and that is now it's Boston Conservatory at Berklee. So
at Berklee, indeed.
How does this make a difference?
Wow. Most conservatories in the United States are struggling with issues around how to prepare musicians for real 21st century careers. And the model that suggested that you train them to play in orchestras, because that's where the jobs are, has really ceased to be viable for the last 15 years or so. For us to graduate a student who we call a well-trained musician, who can't record her audition on her laptop with inexpensive mics and then post it to her web channel would be scandalous. There is a new tech baseline for music students. I think most music students today imagine themselves being part of the gig economy, including teaching. They want experience in the pit, they want experience in recording studios, they want music technology and online resources to be very much a part of their working equipment.
You know, I'm old enough to remember the days of big name venues, big name ensembles, big name recording companies, and it's all so protocolized now.
It is, absolutely. It's democratized in many ways. And when you think, for those of us who aren't fortunate enough to be able to afford a couple of $100s for a pair of symphony tickets, where do you go to access music? You go to YouTube, as most people in the world now do. And that's just one emblem of the way in which individual musicians are making careers for themselves that are self-actualized. And they do need certain business skills, certain career skills in order to do that. And Berklee, of course, has been ahead of the curve on those things for 2 decades at least. The tech resources there, the recording studios, the international reach of the college, 19 international partner schools that we're beginning to take advantage of. Second campus in Valencia, Spain, where we are doing our first opera intensive this summer. They want what we had, the expertise in dance, classical music, and musical theater. We want what they had in terms of technology and global reach. And it's a happy accident of history that we happen to be next door neighbors and more. The campuses are literally intertwined. Anybody who knows that stretch of the Fenway knows that it's a building of ours, a building of theirs, a building of ours, building of theirs. The students have been collaborating well before Roger Brown and I started to talk quietly about 4 years ago now about what the world would look like if we were one institution.
Of course, the other thing, and this even extends to the New England Conservatory, is you have different kinds of music talking to each other.
Absolutely. And I think our students also begin very significantly to feel that they're living in a post-genre world. They're playing in alternative venues. They're playing music that falls neatly in no camp. And they're inventing it as they go along, which is just part of the creativity that we're experiencing now.
Well, I want to go back to the invention 150 years ago. What got and I guess you beat the New England Conservatory
by 3 weeks. Right. By 3 weeks, I think there's a review of a concert by the Boston Conservatory at the Boston Conservatory, and an announcement of the founding of the New England Conservatory, which occurred 3 weeks later, February 1867. And you think of the world in those days. The Civil War has just ended 20 months earlier, the death of President Lincoln. And here was Boston dusting itself off and becoming new. The social reform movement in every arena, was burgeoning here, especially in Massachusetts, especially in Boston.
And this is just a few years before the annexation of Dorchester and Roxbury.
Absolutely, yeah. Boston was still an island, and the founder of our conservatory, Julius Eichberg, a wonderful German violinist and composer who trained at the Great Conservatory in Brussels, decided that Boston would be the place where he would found his conservatory. And it would honor all of the great traditions of European conservatories, but he would process it through a distinctly American lens. I think we were the first to admit women and African Americans and grant degrees to them. Certainly the first all-female string quartet in the country. a lot of firsts. First grand opera department, the first place where you could study dance, both ballet and modern, which was shocking, of course, in the day, under the same roof. And the first to turn its drama department into a musical theater program, which is still the model for dozens that have sprung up around the country at this point.
This is BNN News. We're talking with Richard Ortner from the Boston Conservatory at Berklee. Of course, there has been some difference in the missions of the Boston Conservatory and other music schools. At least you have some areas of emphasis that other schools don't have.
We do. Our connection to the community, I think, is broad and deep. There's a program that most students participate in called Conservatory Connections. And these are students who do what I consider the toughest gigs in the city. They're at Rosie's Place, they're at Hebrew Rehab, they're at Children's Hospital, they're at the Alzheimer's Center. And in the past 4 or 5 years, we've made a particular specialty of giving music lessons to kids on the spectrum. The way in which music enhances the ability of autistic children to communicate is nothing less than startling, and it's been clinically proved 100 times. And we are teaching music teachers how to give those specialized lessons to kids on the spectrum. We do it ourselves every Saturday, and we've given a number of autism-friendly performances of dance and musical theater. I think we're widely recognized as the leaders in the country on that score.
What's the real importance of extending this, especially for students on the autism spectrum? Is this only about a few students who have unusual musical capabilities and interests, or is this about something that's broader?
Well, you know, Berklee is about to pioneer an Institute for Music and Health that will involve partnerships with Harvard Medical School and with MIT. We believe that the efficacy of music in human well-being has only begun to be explored. Certainly a lot of study on music and cognition has already occurred, but there's more involved. We're fortunate to have as close friends Lisa Wong, who's the executive director of the Longwood Symphony, which is Boston's great medical orchestra, if you will. And we look forward to partnership with them and others around expanding this research and, you know, creating bridges to the community that we believe need to be there.
Well, you recently had one event to mark the anniversary, but you have a larger event that's still down the road.
We do. We didn't want to let the actual day of the founding, February 11th, pass without notice. So we had a great small party in our new building on Ipswich Street. But the big celebration occurs Tuesday, May 9th at Symphony Hall. And that's going to be a fantastic party. We have engaged Alan Cumming to be MC and host. He will be doing some of his own performances, but he's going to be our interlocutor in terms of threading together performances from current students, alumni, faculty, from all 3 divisions, music, theater, and dance. And it's going to be a spectacular evening.
Well, one thing we should also remind our viewers of is that just like the New England Conservatory, you have a number of concerts by faculty and students. Some of them are even free concerts, and you've got a great place for people to listen to this. And so you got some ways that people can check that out, maybe? Absolutely.
Our website, I think, is the best place to go to look for information about that, bostonconservatory.edu. You'll find your way to both ticketing facilities and a complete list of concerts. The Piano Masters series, all of our staged operas and dance and musical theater productions, as well as a lot of the individual recitals that go on.
You know, I couldn't let you get out of a 150th anniversary segment without asking you about some of those big names that if people heard them say, oh, I didn't know they went there. Anybody comes to mind like that?
Oh, certainly. I mean, not only are our recent students all over Broadway, but possibly the greatest mezzo-soprano of her generation, Lorraine Hunt-Lieberson, was a student at the conservatory, and I remember Lorraine as a violist at Tanglewood. She was just finding her voice as a singer, and we have had a long history of Metropolitan Opera audition winners who have gone on to be staples at the Met. Sandra Peaks-Eddy, who was our Charlotte in Werther here in Boston last year. Wendy Bryn Harmer, who's been in all of their Ring and Mozart productions. So great prominence on the vocal front. And in dance, our dancers have been principal dancers in the Martha Graham and Jose Limon companies. They are truly all over the world doing this. And we've been approached by the Royal Academy of Dance in London to be their only United States partner, so that our dancers will now be RCD certified as teachers all over the world. The programs continue to rocket forward, and I think the collaboration with our great colleagues at Berklee is going to put this thing on the map globally.
And finally, a reminder, people want to check out some details on times and happenings, you've got the website.
BostonConservatory.edu.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us.
You're very welcome.
Richard Ortner from the Boston Conservatory at Berklee.